Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ways of Working Award goes to. I'm Sarah Sambidge, the Ways of Working Enablement Engagement Lead at Nationwide Building Society, and I'm joined today by Zsolt, Berend and Paul Blackler, two of Nationwide's enablement specialists.
Hello.
We're the UK's largest building society with more than 16 million members, and we take mutuality very seriously. We hold our reputation very dear and are always looking for ways to make our mutual voice heard way beyond our day-to-day business. We aim to put members at the heart of every decision we make, and you can see that in our most recent interim results last September, we were voted which banking brand of the year for the 4th year running, and we were accountable for being the first choice for 1 in 6 new mortgages in the UK. But we know that member expectations are always increasing, and in a year like no other, we need to understand and be ready to meet the changing needs of our members more than ever. Last year, we set up a Ways of Working Enablement Centre as part of our response to helping to create a more agile environment and to help support our operating model of pivoting to long-lived cross-functional teams. In fact, if you were at DOES 2020, you may well have seen Patrick Eltridge, our Chief Operating Officer, talking about the opportunities facing us and the chance to simplify not only our processes to help achieve our outcomes and strategic objectives, but also to focus more on the culture and the behaviours that we want to see more of at Nationwide. Now, my role in all of this is to help share that story, to help colleagues hear from their peers and from each other how a culture of experimentation and continuous learning can really make a difference, to be inspired and to go out and have a go themselves. At the start of this year, we created a week-long learning virtual event where we invited colleagues from across the society to find out more about new ways of working. And it's fair to say we were amazed by the response. More than 2,000 colleagues joined us across the week to hear about a range of topics, from DevOps to lean portfolio management to collaboration tips, and even taking part in our very own Nationwide book club. But without doubt, one of the highlights of the week was our first ever Ways of Working Awards. Now, yes, we held awards to call out and celebrate all the great work that colleagues are making in adopting new ways of working at Nationwide and doing things differently. But it was genuinely about much more than that. So I'm going to hand over now to Zsolt, who's going to tell you a lot more about.
Thank you, Sarah. Before I go and talking about the awards in details, I would like to take one step back and focusing on the why. Why in the first place did we think that establishing a running award gonna be good for the organization? The underlying reason what we experienced and witnessed that information and knowledge is in isolated, disconnected bubbles within the organization. Whether it's a siloed team with analysts working as one team and then handing over to devs, handing over to testers, working in silos and isolated teams, or whether it's a small agile team, a small cross-functional team, or team of teams, or even various teams, with all the positive behavior patterns, they all share some undesired effects, which we call the bubble effect. The bubble effect is around, first of all, that members of these teams develop silo mentality, not having the desire, not wanting to share information outside their information learning bubbles, outside their teams. This leads to limited discoverability of knowledge across the organization. Also, it leads to poor learning retention, because when people are leaving, knowledge is lost forever. And what we see is, because of that, there is lots of duplication of work and lots of inefficiencies. So what do we do about that? How do we turn this around? How do we create more deeper connectedness within the organization? How do we foster a culture of learning and sharing within the organization? So how do we pop these bubbles? How we share some of these patterns we see working. So one of the strong enablers is the creation of communities of practices. This is having a common team, so colleagues are joining based on invitation, and they co-create knowledge, co-create learning together. There are conferences. So Sarah mentioned the week-long learning event, which is a conference, but also there are unconferences, a great collaboration platform where agenda is not set, colleagues are coming together based on invitation, and they co-create knowledge together. That could be a link coffee or an open space session. Internal mobility, this is a great enabler, which I've seen working with many organizations where teams, team members, engineers can go join other teams, upskill themselves and upskill the teams they're working with. So this leads to a positive, accelerated chain reaction of cross-pollination of knowledge. You have colleague-to-colleague program experiment we are running, which Paul's gonna talk more about. And as Sarah mentioned, ways of working enablement team. So we have the central ways of working enablement team, but also like a fractal, we have per value stream, per missions in our case. And one of the biggest enabler is actually establishing and running a ways of working award. So pivoting from collecting success stories from the isolated, disconnected teams and trying to pull it together and share it with the organization, which is proven to be hard. We created an environment where there is intrinsic motivations from team to actually apply to get an award. And this is what we did. So we opened for nomination for 2 weeks, and we had an amazing number, 42 nominations across the organization, really rich and diverse. So whether IT